Some of the main challenges that the agency is facing currently is we do not have national monitoring equipments or devices. The very few that are there belongs to individuals or belongs to specific groups. And the most devastating issue of that is there are no reference points. The data that they are generating and publishing, we could not say whether they are authentic or not. So because of that, it's a big challenge to say that some of the data that we are giving out is correct or not. And I could remember in 1998, the World Bank supported the country by providing some monitoring equipments for them through the agency. Unfortunately, 1 year after, 1999, 2000 was when we had a student riot and all those equipments were destroyed. And for the Gambia, our State of the Environment report that comes up in every 10 years will need to feature some of those informations to be given out to the general public. Unfortunately, it was those old data that had been coming up year in, year out, up till the third edition we are now having, showing that we do not have real-time data that we are supposed to give to our people. Capacity gap is also a challenge that we have as a state. Most of the people that are working within the air quality sector are not trained specific on air quality issues. And it becomes a challenge when you do not understand what you are giving. Most of the times, you may give something that is not correct. So capacity around air quality is something that is also needed as a state. Inadequate laws, I already spoke about that. I think we need to start harmonizing our laws to make sure that we depict more air quality issues and how we're going to solve them as in response to public health issues and also our environment. So that is also something that needed to be looked at. We have limited data availabilities. I've already talked about that. The equipments are not there, so we do not have access to data as a regulatory agency. So these are some of the issues that is currently happening in Gambia, and I guess in most of our West Africa region. Thank you so much.
Good morning, all. I'm Annette Equidioma, coming from Sierra Leone, working with the Environment Protection Agency. For Sierra Leone, we don't have much to say on air quality, but for now, we are at the advanced stage on making policies for air quality, regulations, and legislation on air quality. And we have other experts who have done studies on air quality, like from the university, working directly with the EPAs. And most of these monitors have been owned by the university lecturers, that's the senior lecturers from the environment and quality control. And we have one of the lecturers here who has been doing monitoring on that, which is Jubia. And for now, there is change of leadership. That's the executive person we are having is changed to, the person in charge now is Abubakar S. Masakwe. We have a strategic plan, which will be launched on the 24th of this month. We did validation with stakeholders last year, 2023, early December, which these environmental parameters, we are all discussed there. And we did stakeholder meeting with different NGOs and the people working with the environmental sectors to see their ideas, what should be done on air quality. You see, most of this fund has been based on climate change. We can't discuss climate change without talking about air quality in it. So most of these funds have been centered on climate change. So through this, since we don't have standards policies in our country, so we are just seeking for donors. And to conclude everything, we have to come together as a West African country to develop an international standard policy, which will talk about all these parameters. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Good morning. So my name is Raphael Sajigombu, and I'm from the Environmental Protection Agency of Liberia. So a couple of colleagues have, not the West African, the other colleagues have asked, where is Liberia? We are somewhere on this west coast of Africa. So to the south is the Atlantic Ocean. We have some of our neighbors here to the west, Sierra Leone, East Ivory Coast, and North Guinea. So we have a sub-regional block. We are part of ECOWAS. We have a sub-regional block for the Manon River Union. So the problems in Sierra Leone are not quite different from those in Liberia. Now, over the last couple of days, we've been inundated with information on clean air. And as we know, clean air is actually a basic requirement for human health. But unfortunately, in this part of Africa, where access to social and health services are a daunting challenge, it is difficult to discuss the issue of clean air when we actually have what we call air pollution. But to determine air pollution, Mr. Apple said we need to know those different levels. So in Liberia, in 2019, it was reported that there were about 3,400 premature deaths that were actually linked to issue of air pollution from the World Health Organization study. And that primarily in terms of protecting our environment, which air quality happens to be a part, falls on the shoulder of the Environmental Protection Agency. So the Environmental Protection Agency is guided by an act that was crafted by and passed by the legislators and in 2003. And then we have a law called the Environmental Protection and Management Law of Liberia. So as part of the Environmental Protection and Management Law, there are sections that talk about the need to protect the health of individual, especially will relate to those harmful things that come from a polluted air. So what the EPA has done is to be able to develop a regulation. So we now have a regulation on air quality, but that legislation, which is a regulatory instrument, will actually be passed in the second quarter of this year. So there are actually no Clean Air Acts specifically for Liberia. We have standards, but most of our standards are quite skewed towards standards that are provided by the World Health Organization. So like Ghana, we are a member of the Climate and Clean Air Coalition. We seek, among other things, to reduce short-lived climate pollutants. A lot of the countries tend to focus on greenhouse gases. We want to look at greenhouse gases and look at short-lived climate pollutants, because for those pollutants, they stay a shorter time in the atmosphere, like you have your tropospheric ozone, the black carbons, and methane, and that of HFC. They stay a shorter time in the atmosphere comparable to other greenhouse gases, but they have the most effect when it comes to environment and that of human health. So our focus has been skewed as a member of the Climate and Clean Air Coalition. What we did was to form part of the number of hubs. Some of the hubs are listed by Mr. Akpo today. We are a member of the Waste Hub. We are a member of the cooling, household energy, and that of agriculture, and diesel fuel as well. So as part of those hubs, we've crafted different strategies for different interventions in Liberia. Take, for instance, the waste sector. We are currently, we signed on to the Global Methane Pledge that was in Glasgow. So like many African nations, Liberia is not on an island. What we do is that we go to those gathering and we are quick to sign on to issue. Anything you bring to us, we sign. Implementation has been the major challenge. We don't lack laws. Some of those laws, policies, and regulations that were listed by my colleagues in Gambia, like the health policy, the climate change policy. We've also done our second national communication. We've revised our national determined contribution to reflect mitigative action when it comes to air pollution. So we don't lack some of these documents, but it happens to be implementation that remains a challenge. So what we've done, like in the case of the waste sector at the Climate and Clean Air Coalition, we have been able to craft a project that has been approved by CCAC and sponsored to ensure that we are able to pre-assess the capability of establishing some methane capture facility at our country's 2 landfills the Cheeseman and Wintown landfills. So we want to have a maintained capturing facility that will reduce the levels of maintained emission into the atmosphere. We also have been working in the area of cooling, where we've been able to train different border officers on the need to identify, and we actually equip them on identifying issues that has to do with HFC and buying ODS that come into the country. What are our major contributors? And a lot of the contributors that we have in terms of air pollution are actually being skewed towards estimates from different statistical tools, like in the waste sector, the solid waste emission estimation tool called SWIT and the LEAP RBC. We have been able to determine that our major contributors in the indoor or household sector, I would say not indoor, has been cooking and cooling. They are the major contributors, and also the use of generators in some households where the supply or access to electricity remains a daunting challenge. In the outdoor sector, our major contributors, of course, like other countries, other colleagues have been talking, has been the area of open burning. Open burning has been a huge challenge. For that, we've crafted a strategy to look at the black carbon strategy to reduce emission of black carbon from open burning. And that particular strategy has been led to a project, and that project is now being approved and will be implemented this year by the EPA and funded by the CCAC. We also look at the issue from the Global Maintain Pledge. We've been able to develop, and we are in the process of developing fully our maintain roadmap as a country that will tell us the steps and procedure in abatement of maintain. In the mining sector, the biggest contributors, mining sector is one of the contributors. The major parameters we will have to look at will be mercury from artisanal mining. It is volatile, and that of cyanide. Our country, unlike some other countries, have gold. And for gold leaching in the carbon in leach method, what we use is cyanide. So a lot of solar cyanide is being used. That leads to soil contamination, water contamination. But of course, because of the volatile nature of cyanide, it also leads to air pollution. So those are areas that we will have to look at. What are our challenges? They are not different from the challenges listed by other colleagues. We do not have any reference monitor in Liberia. Just 3 days before I came into Ghana, we had discussion with the U.S. Embassy, and they have said that they will be bringing a BAM into Liberia during by April of this year to be positioned at the building of the embassy, the facility. And so that offers a good opportunity for co-location, a good opportunity for calibration, if we can have the next set of equipment that has to do with low-cost sensors. Unfortunately, we do not have any local cost sensor, any facility, be it privately owned or publicly owned, at any facility in Liberia. Currently, what we make use of are handheld devices that instantly take air quality readings within a minute or 3 minutes. As you will know from these presentation, those are not precise, they are not accurate, they cannot be accepted with any degree of reliability or confidence. So that's what we have, unfortunately. So we came here and for a single appeal. So the appeal is that we want more collaboration with other institutions outside of Liberia, like the collaboration that is currently ongoing between the University of Ghana and the Columbia University. The University of Liberia is there. We're looking up for more collaboration. At EPA Liberia, more collaboration, hopefully in terms of maybe sending a fellow into Liberia, maybe for a period of a year, that will be able to help us in terms of actually installing, using, and doing data elucidation from whatever sensors that will be given us. And we also we need more awareness. We listen to the need for training journalists and others to actually report issues that are of environmental pollution. And because we do not have excellent environmental communicators that will be able to tell people the problem and what are those mitigated measures that can be applied to reduce the risk of these contaminants, we need those more. And lastly,